Welcome, Center County families. It's Todd Costello of Remax Center Realty. It is April of 2025. Time for the monthly value message. This month, we're going to do a brief recap of the first quarter activity, closed sales, and then we're going to touch on financing for buyers and sellers. So let's jump right in. What we have here is a recap for the month of March. Now that March is over, for the month of March, for the last 4 years, this was the inventory, the number of active listings as of April 1st, the number of pending listings, properties under contract as of April 1st, and the demand rate. And then here, the total number of closed transactions for the first quarter of the 4 years. So, things to look at. In 2022, obviously a demand rate of 265%. That is down dramatically. But this was the anomaly years. Money was inexpensive, there was low supply, high demand. People were getting multiple offers, 5, 10, 15 offers. So that's over. We're back to a more normal market. I will note that, over the last 3 years, it looks like we're going down a little bit in demand for the month of March. We've got to keep an eye on that. I'm very curious to see where the April number comes in. So for active sellers out there, we want to see what comes up at the end of April to see if demand picked up a little bit. I expect it to. So, what do I take from these numbers? Well, the bottom line is these numbers are facts. So you just need to understand that you want to select an agent that at least tracks the market. For my long-term clients, I've been tracking this for decades. It allows me to look at probabilities. As far as, hey, what's the demand rate? What's it probably going to be next month? Should we price your property a little more aggressively? Should we reduce the price? So you just want to select an agent that understands these numbers and has been tracking them for an extended period of time so we can make some calculations to benefit you and your family. So that's a recap of the first quarter of 2025. You can go to the website and get more data, toddcostello.com. Second topic of this month is financing matters assume a lot. So let's take buyers, for instance. How qualified you think you are as a buyer has no value. How qualified the seller thinks you are has tremendous value. So in my 30 years of doing this, whether I'm working for the buyer or I'm receiving offers from other buyers' agents and their buyer clients, I always find it interesting, and one of the areas that I point out to my buyer clients is the agent you choose must have minimum standards. So one example I'll give this month is, and let's even go back to 2022 when demand was this high. When you're a buyer and you're starting to look at properties, you don't know, it might not be on the market yet. You don't know if the property that you love, that you fall in love with, is going to be something that's been sitting for 1 day on the market, 1 hour on the market, 1 week on the market, or 1 month on the market. So since you don't know, you need to go into the financing end of your offer, the financing contingency, as strong as you possibly can be. And what that means is you want to have a local pre-approval letter. You want to get pre-approved from a local lender. If you're competing and your offer is exactly the same as the other buyers, but the other buyer has a local Center County lender pre-approval, and your lender is from your bank in Virginia or Wisconsin, where you're moving from, a competent, experienced seller's agent is going to, if the offers are the same, they're going to tell their client, coach their seller client to accept the offer from the buyer who has the local pre-approval letter. So there are techniques that you can use. Just because you have a pre-approval from a local lender doesn't require that you get your financing from them, but it puts you in a stronger negotiating position. And believe me, after 30 years, I receive offers on my listings, and I have to scratch my head sometimes wondering how that buyer was coached in their preparation to be in the strongest negotiating position. So pre-approval matters, financing matters, you want a local lender, and then pre-approval is better than a pre-qualification. There's a difference. When you have a pre-qualification, you've spoken to the lender, and over the phone they ask you some questions, and based on what you told them, they're going to pre-qualify you. A pre-approval is they're going to check your credit, they're going to run your credit report, they're going to see your debt to income. So a pre-approval is stronger. And if you want to be in a stronger negotiating position, you want to have a pre-approval that makes you a stronger buyer. So recap on financing for buyers, you want a pre-approval from a local lender, period. Next, something I'm starting this month, 60-second socials in the email. Click on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and you're going to see this month's topic is click and learn. What is the exact value of your home this month? The exact value. So click on one of those social media sites. You'll get that information. Any other questions? ToddCostello.com, and I'll talk to you next month.